Alright, so this is the second video for today. I know you guys get tired of these videos of me being upstairs here in my hallway and whatnot, but you know, I've always got stuff going on. And all times of the year I've got stuff going on. And I forget things too. So if things slip and they go away, and then I think about things and I come back to them and whatnot. But that's just how it is, you know, as time goes on, right? Well, we talked about that scarf. Real bargain, right? Less than $10 US. So it's a bit short. I thought about maybe getting another one if they got more, you know, hard to say. Could have been a closeout, right? But I nabbed that sucker, and I think it goes pretty good with my old coat there. But anyway, so I did see about the mesh long underwear in wool. They're 80% wool, by the way. Not everything is going to be 100% wool. But I will not buy anything less than 70% wool. I will never buy anything less than 70% wool because you just the loss of performance is just too much for me to bear. I just can't take it. 70% is my bottom line. Okay? Well, someone asked me in an email the other day, they said, what do you do about sleeping in the winter outside in your sleeping bag? You know, talking about protecting your lungs, right? And dealing with condensation with your sleeping bag and whatnot. Because these have all been common problems in the past for people. And not really for me, because I generally will sleep with my head out of the bag or my face out of the bag. I never sleep in the bag in a very cold environment. I'm generally outside of the bag. So, with my head, like the other day I was talking about in a video, I was halfway out of my sleeping bag and I forgot to zip up and cover up my face and head, and I started the onset of pneumonia, and luckily I had antibiotics with me. Antibiotics, I never take antibiotics except for one situation, and that's pneumonia, because pneumonia can only be stopped in its tracks and reverted by antibiotics and nothing else that I know of. Okay, you could try to ride it out as best you can, but I mean, you could probably get it sorted out with acupuncture. I'm thinking that you can, because I have been cured of different things, you know, like cold and so on. Heavy phlegm, congestion, you know, I've had acupuncture cure me of that before. So, but you gotta have somebody that's not a flim-flam artist and really knows what they're doing, right? And that's another thing that's kind of hard to, you know, anybody could say I'm an acupuncturist, you know. They just stick a needle here and there, and oh yeah, okay, $30, you know, bye. No. Anyway, we'll get off that subject. That's just another subject. So, yeah. So I generally will have a good balaclava with me, or two, right? We'll generally have one or two items with me to go on my head, over my face, right? Generally, I have that coyote brown pashmina scarf that you saw me with in the other video. I will generally have that. At times I've had a shamag, some kind of a scarf, you know, and then I have a balaclava. So actually this particular balaclava has the mesh. So I was talking about the long underwear, the mesh long underwear. This is a mesh balaclava, right? So this has the mesh. Matter of fact, there's the name of the brand right there. There's the name of the brand. Let me just turn this light on a minute. Anyway, so you could see it's mesh on the inside. Okay, so that lets your sweat, your vapor from your sweat go through. It goes through that mesh and it keeps it off of your skin. Goes into the balaclava, and then once it, in a little bit, it will keep. Your head is keeping it warm, and then it will make its way through the balaclava and then will evaporate on the outside. So this is a Brigny mask. It's got 2 eyes, and then there's a place here. There's an opening here for mouth and nose underneath that, and you could eat or drink through there if you wanted to. But yeah. So you got balaclava. So the thing is to protect your lungs, right? So condensation in your bag. If you are using anything other than a Wiggy's bag, okay, which I have an Antarctic bag by Wiggy's, it's 2 bags, a bag and a bag, right? And it's rated to minus 80 Fahrenheit. And it's a real barn burner. I'm telling you, you want something that's going to keep you warm, that will keep you warm. Anyway, it's not for your rucksack. When you're pulling a poke, okay, a sledge, it goes in a bag on the sledge, right? So you're pulling that behind you, and you might have, a small ruck on with essentials in case you get separated from your poke, right? Just survival essentials, okay? But the majority of your stuff in a winter situation is going to be on the poke, right? So you're pulling this thing. Depending on the situation, right? Military uses poke, civilians use poke. There's so many variables here. Anyway, that's not what this is about. So it's about your sleeping bag and sleeping in the cold, right? So if you have a down bag, well, I don't use down bags. And the reason why I don't use down bags is because if down gets wet, it's worthless. And the more condensation gets into the bag, the more worthless the bag gets. Okay? So, rather than going through all of this trouble of trying to figure out somehow, some way, how to keep condensation, which is moisture, out of your down in your sleeping bag, rather than all that, you just need to get a good synthetic bag. Now, old Wiggy, he'll tell you that everybody else is crap except for his. And to be honest with you, he does make the best synthetic bag in the world. Wiggy's is the best synthetic bag that you're going to find. And I've used a bunch of bags. But how's the U.S. military bag? The 3-piece or 4-piece system. It's great. I used it a bunch. As a matter of fact, I like it. I would not use it for extreme cold, but it is good for very cold weather. Generally, you know, you're not going to use something like that in a lightweight situation. But if you are in very cold weather where there's snow and freezing conditions, you definitely are going to want that. Okay, like I said, as a soldier, right? So everything just depends on so many variables. We can't even discuss them all here. If you have a particular thing that you want to say, hey, how would you approach this one situation? You can feel free to ask me, you know, but there's like a million different situations, and there's no one answer that can cover them all, right? So the bag that is the very best at moving moisture out of your bag and not being affected by condensation whatsoever is the Wiggy's bag, the Lamilite bag. If you see a bag with Climate Shield, it's going to be almost as good. I say almost as good because Wiggy, you know, he laminates it and all that stuff. So it is going to be better overall. Now, I can remember a buddy of mine who had a ridge rest. He had a ridge rest on the ground underneath his bag, and in the morning we actually saw where his sweat from sleeping came out, went through his long underwear top, because he had his trousers on and his boots on and all that, but he slept with everything off from the waist up except for the long underwear top, and his sweat went through the bag. The bag wicked the sweat out of, you know, the sweat was wicked out through the bag, and you could see water droplets that were from his sweat being wicked out through the bag in the ridges of the ridge rest. So we saw that. I thought that was quite interesting. I didn't see any in mine, but it was in his. So apparently he was quite warm, and anyway, everybody's different, but it was very interesting to see that, you know, that it had wicked through the bag. Now, whether or not he was wet at all when he went to bed, I don't know. I didn't ask him, hey, did you go into the bag wet? Because they say, you know, if you go into the bag wet in a Wiggy's bag, that you will be dry by morning and your clothes will be dry. And I saw the moisture had come out through the bag in the ridge rest. He had a ridge rest, one of those closed cell foam pads, right? He had that, and it's very interesting. Anyway, we're out of time here. I wanted to talk about that. If you guys got any questions or whatnot, just feel free to contact me. I'll try to think of some other things to talk about here soon. I got a lot of things going on right now. But anyway, I wanted to share that stuff with you in these couple videos. See you later.